Give me 2 seconds. Story 9 has the detail that makes the whole situation feel staged. These viral Reddit stories start normal, then one tiny choice turns them into a problem nobody agrees on. Story 1 starts with the kind of moment most people would ignore. I need a reality check, because this situation got messy fast. BF mad at me because he opened up relationship and got no dates. I might be wrong for how I responded. Me and my boyfriend, both 37, have been dating for just over 3 years. Prior to this, I was single for 8 years. Overall, it's been a healthy relationship. We are both independent with our jobs, living situations, etc. I do love spending time with him. I don't really have any complaints. However, something that startled me was back about 6 months ago, him saying that he wanted to open the relationship up, meaning going on dates and sleeping with other women. I've never been in a dynamic like this, so I naturally had a lot of questions. He told me that I could also go on dates and sleep with other men. I honestly was a little skeptical at first, but after doing some research and having time to think, I agreed. He had told me that if at any point I wasn't comfortable, we could stop and close the relationship up again. One of the rules was, we don't discuss with each other what we're doing or who we're going on dates with, etc. I signed up to a dating app. Within a few days I had 500+ likes, and it's been pretty steady since. So I started matching with people, texting and arranging dates. On average I go on 1 or 2 dates a month. There are also some people in similar dynamics of open relationships that I am going on dates with, sleeping with regularly. I quite like the fact that everything is non-committal, so even though I was skeptical at first, I am enjoying the open relationship. As decided from before, I hadn't told my boyfriend about any of this. I was at my boyfriend's house the other day and my phone was on the kitchen counter. He saw my notifications and then proceeded to go through my phone and read messages, including going through the dating app and whatnot. To say he was angry was an understatement. Turns out he opened the relationship up to take out on a date a younger colleague at his workplace, who misread his idea of a date as just a work lunch. He then openly told me that he wanted to see if it would work with her so he could ultimately leave me for her. However, she didn't want him and it seems like no one else did either. In the last 6 months he's had a few rough dates but no one additional to sleep with. I feel somewhat embarrassed for him. He demanded we instantly close the relationship up and I told him that maybe we should just end things or at least take a break. He was outraged and called me names, but he was the one who wanted this dynamic, so what's the problem? I left and as I walked home I contemplating fully breaking it off with him. He's been blowing my phone up and I'm not quite sure what to say. Am I wrong? I know how it looks from the outside, but I still think there is more to it. Who is wrong here? The scary part is how ordinary the first warning sign felt. Story 2. This one feels normal for about 10 seconds, and then it turns. I was trying to keep it together, but this situation broke something in me. I was strip searched at an airport, humiliated, and taken pictures of. Absolutely no one believes me. So I am a 27F, and some time ago, I was stopped at the DXB airport as I was entering. The passport control, which I had to go through instead of the regular gates due to my business visa, looked at me for some time, and they obviously profiled me due to multiple tattoos on my neck, arms, and face. They began asking me questions like, "Where are the rest of your tattoos?" and "How many do you have?" I had to part my hair for them to take pictures of my tattoos. Most of them are geometric. No offensive images or text. I waited for an hour, and then they inspected my phone for the sake of security. They looked through everything for several minutes, and ended up finding a nude. One single nude I had sent to my boyfriend of 4 years. This made everything so much worse, and I was taken into secondary, strip searched by several GUs, mocked, and humiliated. I was laughed at. Taken pictures of. One guy got violent with me and assaulted me. I've tried to share my story on Reddit previously, it always gets deleted. None of my business associates believe me under the excuse, well, I have many tattoos and have lived here for many years with no problems. At one point, I tried going to discuss this with the media, and they laughed it off, didn't believe me either. I've lost all hope, and don't want to talk to anyone about it. Absolutely no one has believed me, except my boyfriend. Just wanted to share this here. Maybe you believe me, maybe you don't. I've decided against therapy due to the fear of not being believed. And maybe that's why I want to write about it here. Now we are getting divorced, and I still cannot believe one wedding changed my life like this. And this is exactly why the comments could not agree on what they would have done. Story 3. This one feels normal for about 10 seconds, and then it turns. This sounds simple at first, until you hear what actually happened. He followed me to my car, so I barked until he ran away. I, 23F, had a terrifying encounter tonight that ended in the weirdest way possible. I was walking to my car after my shift when I noticed a guy following me. I tried the walking faster, taking random turns, but somehow he was still there. When I reached my car, he actually talked. He said, "Hey, beautiful." I could feel my heart in my throat. I've always been told to be polite, to de-escalate, but something in me just snapped. Instead of screaming or saying, "Thank you," I looked him dead in the eye, and let out the weirdest dog bark I've ever did. I didn't stop. I just acted like a crazy girl and saw him getting a disgusted and weirded out face. He walked away. Obviously. I'm home now and still can't believe I did that, but I've realized something: men aren't afraid interested in crazy ones. 10 out of 10 would recommend going feral to stay safe. I still do not know what I would have done differently, and that is why this story stuck with me. The scary part is how ordinary the first warning sign felt. Story 4. This one feels normal for about 10 seconds, and then it turns. This sounds simple at first, until you hear what actually happened. Manager said to follow the checklist exactly, so I did. Every single line. I used to work in a small warehouse where we had a daily closing checklist that honestly no one took too seriously. It was one of those things that had clearly been written years ago and never updated, so most of us just did the important parts and went home. Recently we got a new manager who was very big on accountability, and kept saying we needed to follow procedures exactly as written, no shortcuts. He called me out in front of everyone one day for skipping a few steps that didn't really apply anymore, which was kinda embarrassing NGL. So the next shift I decided, alright, I will follow it exactly. The checklist had things like, inspect all emergency exits, which meant I had to walk across the entire building and check doors that are basically never used. There was also a step about testing backup lighting, which involved turning off the main lights in sections and waiting to see if the backups kicked in. This whole process took way longer than usual, and since I was doing it properly I couldn't help the rest of the team finish up faster like I normally would. People were stuck waiting around because certain tasks depend on others being done first. By the time I finished everything, we were almost an hour past closing time. The manager was still there and asked why it took so long, so I showed him the checklist and pointed out that I followed every step exactly like he told us to. He looked pretty annoyed but didn't really have anything to say without contradicting himself. After that the checklist mysteriously got updated the next week and suddenly we were allowed to skip half those steps again. Some coworkers said I was being petty, but I just did what I was told, right? I still do not know what I would have done differently, and that is why this story stuck with me. That is the moment where most people would pretend nothing was wrong. Story 5. This one feels normal for about 10 seconds, and then it turns. I thought I knew who was wrong here, but the details changed everything. I might be wrong for refusing to let my brother bring his girlfriend to my wedding after she insulted my fiancé. I, 29M, am getting married in 3 months to my fiancée, 28F. My brother, 31M, has been dating his girlfriend, 30F, for about a year. At first, I thought she was fine, but over the last few months she's made several rude comments about my fiancé's job, our guest list, and even the size of the wedding. Last weekend, we had a family dinner to go over final wedding plans. My fiancé mentioned that we were keeping the ceremony small and asked everyone to respect the seating arrangement. My brother's girlfriend laughed and said, "This whole thing sounds cheap and kind of pointless anyway." My fiancé got quiet, and I told her that was out of line. Then, as if that wasn't enough, she also complained that the wedding date had to be moved because it clashes with a facial appointment she'd booked months ago, and said we should probably move the ceremony so she wouldn't have to look tired in photos. After that, my brother said she was just being honest and that I was overreacting. I told him that if she couldn't be respectful, she wasn't welcome at the wedding. Now my brother is furious and says I'm humiliating him by excluding his girlfriend. My mom thinks I should let it go to keep the peace. My fiancée says she doesn't want someone at our wedding who openly disrespects us. Am I wrong for refusing to invite my brother's girlfriend to my wedding after what she said? Be honest, would you back down, or would you stand your ground? That is the moment where most people would pretend nothing was wrong. Story 6. This one feels normal for about 10 seconds, and then it turns. I thought I knew who was wrong here, but the details changed everything. I might be wrong for withholding concert tickets from friends after they ditched me. I, F21, have 2 very close friends, Lily and Kate, fake names, I made during university. Lily and Kate are very conventionally attractive, important detail for later. I, however, am not. I'm hygienic, groom myself well, have tried all the conventional tips for appearance. However, I have a very large nose, wide boxy jaw, which make me not conventionally attractive. We graduated university this year and decided to celebrate with a Miami trip. I bought us all concert tickets for tonight since Lily used some of her hotel points to get us a large suite to stay in. Kate picked out a club she wanted to go to for Friday night. I know Miami has a reputation with being picky about what girls they let into clubs. I did my makeup and hair as best as I could, wore one of the prettiest and fanciest dresses I own. However, when we got to the bouncer, he only let Lily and Kate in, but not me. Lily hesitated and tried to convince him to let me in too, but he didn't budge. Eventually, both shot me a grimace and said they wouldn't be too long at the club. I felt so humiliated walking away. I've been feeling really down since and am frankly offended by their behavior ditching me. I don't want to go to the concert tonight, and after they pushed me on it, I told them I wasn't going to give them the tickets I bought for them either. Kate is now pretty mad at me and Lily has said she's disappointed with my decision. Am I wrong? I know how it looks from the outside, but I still think there is more to it. Who is wrong here? And this is exactly why the comments could not agree on what they would have done. Story 7. This one feels normal for about 10 seconds, and then it turns. I need a reality check, because this situation got messy fast. I might be wrong for having my neighbor's boyfriend's car towed after they took over my paid parking spot for a week. I, 24F, pay extra for a reserved parking spot at my apartment because parking here is really bad. About 2 weeks ago, my neighbor, 26F, knocked on my door and asked if I could allow her boyfriend who just visited use my spot just for one night. She said he will move the car early the next morning, and I agreed since my car is with the mechanic. But the car stayed there for almost a week. I reminded her multiple times to move it, but there was always an excuse. And now I have my car back, and keep searching for street parking even though I'm paying for my own spot. After several warnings, I finally had the car towed. Now my neighbor says I overreacted and embarrassed them. Be honest, would you back down, or would you stand your ground? That is the moment where most people would pretend nothing was wrong. Story 8. This